Hi, I'm Holly. Most days I consider myself a pretty easygoing person, especially when it comes to co parenting with my ex husband, David. But when it comes to my daughter Lily's safety, that's where my flexibility ends and my mama bear instincts kick in. Mommy, there was a man taking pictures of our bus again today, Lily said, swinging her backpack onto the kitchen counter after school. I paused, wooden spoon halfway to my mouth. What do you mean, again? This has happened before? Yeah, like 3 times this week. Lily shrugged, reaching for an apple from the fruit bowl. Mr. Reynolds saw him too. He asked the man what he was doing. And? What did the man say? I tried to keep my voice casual while my heart rate doubled. He said he was from the school district doing some kind of survey. Lily took a loud crunch of her apple. But Joey's mom was there and she works at the district office, and she said she didn't know anything about a survey. I put down the spoon and picked up my phone. That's concerning. Did you get a good look at this person? Not really. He had sunglasses and a baseball cap. There was another person yesterday too, a lady with really bright red hair. She was writing stuff in a notebook. Did they try to talk to you or any of the other kids? Lily shook her head. No, they stayed back by the cars. But Emma said the man with the camera was the same guy she saw last week when her dad picked her up early from school. I texted Mr. Reynolds immediately. Within minutes, my phone rang. Miss Winters? This is Frank Reynolds, Lily's bus driver. Mr. Reynolds, thank you for calling back so quickly. Lily just told me about people watching the bus. That's why I'm calling, actually. I was going to reach out to all the parents today. His gravelly voice sounded concerned. There have been 3 different individuals over the past week, taking photos, notes, following at a distance. When I approached them, they all had different stories about working for the district or doing traffic studies. Did you report this? First thing I did. But here's what's odd. I described them to school security, and yesterday I saw one of them talking to an older woman in the parking lot. They were looking at something on a phone together. Did you recognize the woman? I asked, moving to the window to glance outside instinctively. Well, that's the thing. It looked like, and I could be wrong, but it looked like your former mother-in-law. My blood ran cold. Patricia? Are you sure? Not 100%, but the resemblance was strong. Distinctive silver bob, expensive-looking clothes. Mr. Reynolds, He interrupted. I've already changed the route starting tomorrow. Just subtle changes. Different streets, different timing. Told the school it was for construction, but really I want to see if these folks follow the new route. I don't understand why Patricia would... Miss Winters. His voice dropped. My own daughter went through a messy divorce. I know how some people can't let go of control. I just wanted to warn you. After hanging up, I called my best friend Zoe, my hands still shaking. Zoe, you're not going to believe this. Patricia's having someone track Lily's bus route. Your ex-mother-in-law? The same woman who tried to convince the judge you were an unfit mother? I'm shocked. Zoe's sarcasm was thick. What are you going to do? I'm going to find out exactly what she's up to. And then I'm going to make sure she never comes near my daughter again. The next morning, I was waiting in my car near the bus stop, watching Lily board safely. Once the bus pulled away, I spotted a nondescript sedan slowly following the same route. My suspicions confirmed, I trailed at a distance. When the bus took Mr. Reynolds' new route, the sedan driver seemed confused, checking something repeatedly on their phone. They eventually pulled into a coffee shop parking lot. I parked nearby and watched as the driver, a middle-aged man in a baseball cap, made a phone call. That afternoon, I arranged to meet with Mrs. Torres, Lily's school principal. Holly, I'm very disturbed by what you're describing, Mrs. Torres said, adjusting her glasses. Mr. Reynolds reported suspicious individuals, but we had no idea they might be connected to a family member. I need to know what my options are, I said, leaning forward. These people are tracking my daughter's movements. Have you confirmed it's definitely your former mother-in-law behind this? No, but it fits her pattern. Since the divorce, she's tried everything to undermine my custody arrangement. Such as... She hired a private investigator to follow me 2 years ago, trying to prove I was an unfit mother. She's filed complaints with Child Protective Services claiming my home was unsafe. She's even tried to pick up Lily from school without authorization. Have you spoken with your ex-husband about this? I tried calling David this morning, but he didn't pick up. Typical. I sighed. But honestly, I doubt he knows. Patricia has always done things behind his back. Mrs. Torres nodded. I've met Patricia at school functions. She's forceful. That's putting it mildly, I muttered. Here's what we can do immediately. Mrs. Torres slid a form across her desk. This authorizes an immediate restriction on who can pick up Lily. We'll also alert all staff about unauthorized photography or surveillance. As I filled out the form, Mrs. Torres added, I'd also recommend documenting everything and consulting with the police. This could constitute stalking or harassment. That evening, I finally connected with David. Your mother is having people follow our daughter's school bus, I said without preamble when he answered. Holly, that's ridiculous. Why would Mom do that? David's dismissive tone was all too familiar. Ask her yourself. Mr. Reynolds saw her with one of the people who's been photographing the bus. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? My voice rose. 3 different strangers have been following and photographing our daughter's bus. That's not a misunderstanding, David. Look, Mom's been worried that Lily isn't getting enough time with me. So her solution is to hire people to stalk our child? Are you hearing yourself? I'll talk to her, okay? David sounded frustrated. But I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation. There is no reasonable explanation for this behavior. It's crossing a major line. After hanging up, I called Officer Bennett, a police officer I'd met through a community safety program at Lily's school. Based on what you're describing, Officer Bennett said after I explained the situation, we can start by filing a report. If these individuals continue to follow the bus after being warned off, we could potentially pursue harassment charges. And what about Patricia? She's clearly orchestrating this. Family situations can be complicated legally, he admitted. But documenting everything is crucial. Photos, times, dates, witness statements, especially from Mr. Reynolds. 2 days later, David called. Mom swears she doesn't know what you're talking about, he said immediately. She's lying, David. Why would she lie about something like this? Because she's been trying to undermine my custody since the day we separated, I snapped. Remember when she hired that private investigator to follow me? That was different. It was exactly the same. Your mother cannot accept that I'm Lily's primary caregiver. After a tense conversation that resolved nothing, I decided to confront Patricia directly. I arranged to meet her at a cafe near her house, making it clear that this was a serious matter. When I arrived, Patricia was already seated, looking elegant as always in her designer outfit and perfectly styled silver bob. Holly, darling, she greeted with a plastic smile. This all seems very dramatic. Let's cut to the chase, I said, sitting down. I know you've hired people to track Lily's bus. Patricia's smile didn't waver. That's quite an accusation. It's not an accusation, it's a fact. Mr. Reynolds saw you with one of them. The bus driver? Please, he must be confused. We have photographs, Patricia, of you in the school parking lot showing something on your phone to the same man who's been following the bus. Her expression flickered momentarily. Even if I were keeping tabs on my granddaughter's whereabouts, is that really so terrible? She asked, her voice hardening. David tells me you've been dropping Lily off late for their weekends together. That happened once because she was sick. You know that. I know that you've been trying to limit David's relationship with his daughter since the divorce. That's absolutely not true, and you know it, I said, keeping my voice steady despite my rising anger. I've been nothing but accommodating with schedule changes. I've even driven Lily to your house when David had to work late. Let's not pretend you're doing anyone favors, Patricia scoffed. We both know you've been bitter since David left. David didn't leave. We decided together that our marriage wasn't working. He would never have left if you'd been the right kind of wife, Patricia said, her veneer of politeness cracking. The right kind of mother. And what exactly is the right kind of mother in your eyes, Patricia? One who lets her ex-mother-in-law make all the decisions? One who puts family first, she hissed. One who understands traditions and proper values. I leaned forward. This isn't about David's relationship with Lily. This is about you hiring strangers to stalk a 9-year-old girl. Do you have any idea how inappropriate and frightening that is? I'm simply gathering information. For what? Another custody challenge? Because the last two didn't work out so well for you. Patricia's eyes narrowed. I'm concerned about my granddaughter's well-being. No, you're obsessed with control. And I've had enough. I stood up. The police have been notified. The school has been notified. If your investigators show up near my daughter again, I'll be pursuing harassment charges. Against them and against you. You wouldn't dare, Patricia hissed, dropping her polite facade. Try me. I have documentation, witnesses, and photos. What do you have? I have resources you couldn't dream of. Patricia stood, her voice rising. And I will use every last one to make sure my son gets full custody of Lily. Is that a threat? It's a promise, she said, grabbing my arm. You took my son. You won't take my granddaughter too. Let go of me, I said firmly, noticing several cafe patrons turning to watch. You've never been good enough for this family, Patricia continued, her grip tightening. Lily deserves better than you. I pulled away. This conversation is over. It's far from over, Patricia called after me. You'll regret this. The next morning, I filed for an emergency restraining order based on Patricia's threats and the stalking incidents. With Mr. Reynolds' testimony, photos of the surveillance, and witnesses from the cafe who heard Patricia's threats, Judge Simmons granted a temporary order. I can't believe Mom did this, David said when I called to inform him of the restraining order. His voice sounded deflated. I spoke with one of the guys she hired. She told him she was building a case for a custody modification. And you had no idea? None. He sighed heavily. Holly, I'm sorry, it's inexcusable. It's more than inexcusable, David. It's frightening. These were strangers following our daughter. I know. There was a long pause. I've told Mom she needs to back off. Completely. It's too late for that. The restraining order prohibits her from coming within 500 feet of Lily or me, or our home or school. 3 weeks later, we appeared in court for the hearing to make the restraining order permanent. Patricia arrived with an expensive attorney, looking confident. Miss Winters, her attorney began during cross-examination, isn't it true that you've been hostile toward Mrs. Campbell since your divorce? I've maintained appropriate boundaries with someone who has repeatedly tried to interfere with my parenting, I replied calmly. And these so-called stalkers, isn't it possible they were simply at the bus stop for innocent reasons? 3 different individuals over multiple days, taking photos and notes, all of whom were connected directly to Patricia? No, that's not possible. When Patricia took the stand, her attorney tried to paint her as a concerned grandmother, but the evidence was overwhelming. Mrs. Campbell, Judge Simmons asked directly, did you hire individuals to monitor your granddaughter's school bus? After a long pause, Patricia admitted, I asked some people to observe the punctuality of the bus schedule. Without the knowledge or consent of either parent, I was gathering information for my son's benefit. The judge's expression hardened. Mrs. Campbell, what you've described constitutes stalking and harassment of a minor. This court takes such matters extremely seriously. In the end, the judge not only granted the permanent restraining order, but also referred the case to the district attorney for potential criminal charges related to the stalking of a minor. Outside the courthouse, Patricia approached us despite her attorney's attempts to stop her. Holly, please, she pleaded, her composure cracking. I only wanted what was best for Lily. Can't we work something out? No, I said firmly. You crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. You put my daughter in danger. I'm her grandmother. I love her. Love doesn't stalk. Love doesn't threaten. Love doesn't hire strangers to follow a child. David, Patricia turned to her son. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I won't do it again. David shook his head. Mom, you need help. Professional help. Until you get it, I don't think you should be around Lily either. You don't mean that, Patricia gasped. I do. Holly's right. There's no coming back from this. Later that week, I sat with Lily's therapist, Dr. Morgan, discussing how to explain the situation to my daughter. The most important thing is that Lily feels safe, Dr. Morgan advised. She needs to know this wasn't her fault, and that the adults in her life are protecting her. Do you think she'll understand why she can't see her grandmother anymore? Children understand boundaries and safety better than we give them credit for. Just be honest, age-appropriate, and consistent. That evening, Mr. Reynolds called to check in. I heard about the court decision, he said. How are you holding up? Better than I expected, I admitted. Having support makes all the difference. You know, in 30 years of driving buses, I've seen a lot. But standing up for your kid the way you did, that takes real courage, I smiled, feeling something like peace for the first time in weeks. I just did what any mother would do, protect her child. Not everyone would have handled it so well, he assured me. So, what comes next for you two? Healing, moving forward, and making sure Lily knows that no matter what, her safety will always come first. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have given Patricia another chance, or drawn a hard line like I did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.